Okay, so actually we were thinking that what should be the apt, what is called the talk for this particular subject in the defense ages, and we thought that we generate a lot of contents, and then there is still a lot of issues in terms of how to search the contents, whether it is a localized softwares or whether it is a localization tools, how the searching can happen, because searching is complex in Indian languages. It doesn't go character-based search, because if you say character-based search, the rules doesn't apply. So I have to have certain special algorithms to do the searching also in terms of the Indian languages. Uh, People are fully aware that the tomorrow's session starts with the what is called the day after tomorrow, rather, localization in cloud. I would like to take a leverage over here and say something about the same over here, because when this invitation came from Renard in terms of we are conducting localization in the cloud, I was thrilled, because that's where since if 22 Indian languages are there and some more are going to pop up, and in future, so how we move about it, so what's the best method to do, how we really share the resources, and so on and so forth. So I felt personally that this is a very apt what is called a session in terms of the localization in cloud. So you fully aware what is cloud computing has become a ubiquitous term today, and a variety of flavors of the cloud computing are available, like public, hybrid, and private. You are aware of that. The recent statistics show that the data stored in the cloud is increasing, and the need to search efficiently through the data makes it healthy. So searching becomes exceptionally important, especially in that regard. Major cloud providers report a rise in the data stored in the cloud chamber. So now a lot of contents are being getting generated. When we say Indian language contents earlier, means when we go back something like 4 or 5 years back, the contents were very sparse. But with the government initiatives, again, as I said, that we have got a certain project wherein we are, just Renam also mentioned about that, it's 22 Indian languages, and we localized OpenOffice for all 22 Indian languages. We localized Firefox browser for all 22 Indian languages, Firefox browser, Thunderbird email client, Scribus, calendaring system, and ECO, that is the content management system. And these tools, technologies which are there, like the keyboard driver, the fonts, then the what is called the spell checkers, then some of the dictionaries and OCR. This we have pushed it into and taking from the public-private partnership. So we took some of the tools and technologies from the public, then from the what is called the public institutions, rather, which are the funded institutions from the government, as well as from the private, and from CDAC side, whatever efforts we have done for last 20 years, research, we have put it in a single CD and given to the public free of charge, just with the sole intention that the language proliferates, it reaches the masses, and it reaches the rural masses. Giving the statistics of that, people said that okay, people are in India, a lot of people I speak English, so you might be under the impression that English is a common language in India, but it's not true. Only 5% to 6% of the people in India speak English, while the rest of the people speak Indian languages, and then we require certain solution. Out of that, 95 or 94%, 36.5% of the people don't know how to read and write their own language. They can only speak. So therein, wherein the challenge lies, how to bring technologies and how they can reach to the basically information. So we talk about some speech technologies. We talk about some iconic representation. If a farmer has to what is called the access information in terms of the today, what is the price of the crop, or where he can sell his crop at what price. Unless otherwise, these technologies help him basically, because just giving some information on a portal is not going to help him out, but we need something called as a speech technologies or text to speech technology and a very intuitive interfaces. So that's the way certain things are moving. Then Raymond Doctor told, although proprietary search engines are there are a lot of search engines today, but to get a specific search is still an issue basically, and we will show some of the complexities arising out of the Indian languages, what is called the structure. When we say Indian language structure, when we say English, or the English, I personally still feel it's not that phonetic in nature, wherein Indian languages are much more phonetic in nature, which necessarily means that the way we speak, the way we write. So that's the way basically, but unlike the English, because pronunciations are different, but the spellings might be slightly different. But in Indian languages, except some few cases, the most of the things are like a scientific, it comes from a very scientific origin, and that is where the phonetics comes. Okay. It is okay. So searching will be the major topic of the discussion. So the linguistic solutions in India, I will try to situation in India, searching in the cloud, the problems and the solutions. These are the two things which I would like to address. India, as I said, it is a linguistic paradise. It's a real challenge. If you try to work and try to think of what all technology and scaling up. See, if you do one, I don't think you are satisfied over there because so many languages again pops up and then you have to again restart the whole process and develop. And scaling up factor by 22, it's a phenomenal. It's a real phenomenon. Coming to the, I hope this will suit you, all of you in terms of giving a background in terms of Indian languages. India has the largest linguistic diversity in the world, and 4 major language families are there, and at least 35 different languages and around 2,000 dialects are there. Okay, that's a census which was been done in 2001 and then recent 2005 also. These languages belong to either Indo-Aryan, and the figures in the bracket show the percentage also. The Dravidian, the Austro-Assetian, that is the Munda family, or the Tibeto-Burman families. Some of the languages of Himalayas are still unclassified. So we are not included some of the languages of Himalayas where the people are speaking, but still they are not classified. As I said, India has 22 scheduled languages and English continues to be the associated additional official language. The relationship of script to language is not one-to-one, but can be many to one or one to many. So when I said the complexities, it's the number of languages is one of the challenge. I'm not going to say complexity. I will, as a computational person, I will say it is a challenge to address such grand things. Devanagari is a script basically. So when we say a script is the writing, how you write the language, and language is the spoken part of it. So I will try to make it very layman part of it. The script is what you write and the language is what you speak. So Devanagari is a script. While from using Devanagari as a script, you can write close to around 54 languages in India, 54. And out of the scheduled languages, we have got a Hindi, Marathi, Konkani, Rajasthani, Sindhi, Nepali, Dogri, Santhali. These are the languages which get written into basically Devanagari as a code page. So we have got one code page, and then you have got so many languages which are being written. So there is a problem of disambiguation in terms of if I have got a content in Devanagari code page, how am I supposed to know that whether it is a Hindi content, it is a Marathi content, or it is a Konkani content? So you require something called as a tool which can see the string and then try to analyze and say, okay, the content is in Marathi. Why it is important? Because in a search it poses a problem. Whether I have to search from the Marathi pages and bring the Marathi document, or if I want to search from Hindi, otherwise it will be a totally irrelevant data which I am supposed to get from the normal searches which we are doing today. Conversely, the other side, flip side is also there, that Konkani is written in Roman, Devanagari, Malayalam, Kannada, and so on and so forth. See, these are such a complex subjects and issues. Sindhi, when I say it is also written in Arabic as well as in Devanagari. Santhali, for example, gets written in Devanagari and Onchiki. Then Manipuri gets written in Maithili and modified Bangla. Okay. Manipuri gets written in Maithimek and modified Bangla. So these are some of the things wherein you have got a it's not that one language, many scripts, and many language, one script. So this poses a challenge. So just a glimpse of the official languages and the states and the family from which they are derived, what are the scripts are being used. So Assamese is spoken in Assam, which is the upper part, basically north part. Bangla, the Bengali language, Tripura and West Bengal, which comes from the Indo-Aryan family, and the script used is Bangla. Bodo is in Assam, it's coming from the Tibeto-Burman family basically, and it's written in Devanagari. Dogri is in Jammu Kashmir, Indo-Aryan, Devanagari. Gujarati, spoken in, especially it's a state of Gujarat language basically, Indo-Aryan and Gujarati. Hindi at so many places. Hindi is supposedly a national language basically. Kannada is in Karnataka, Kashmir in Kashmir, Konkani, Goa, Maithili is in Bihar, Malayalam in Kerala and Lakshadweep, Manipuri in Maithili, Marathi in Maharashtra, Nepali in Sikkim, Oriya in Orissa, Punjabi in Punjab.